topic for today?
Did you send me one?
I never sent you a topic.
Okay, I was just checking stuff. I wanted to make sure in case I was keeping up.
It's some celebrity infection stuff in the
I
news.
was just curious to say, first of all, there's always celebrity infection stuff in the news because that's what keeps the news popping. But I will say, for me, what we're talking about with relationships as we're looking at this, I just happen to be, I said it today where I'm coming from, spring fling and stuff. Lots of the same sex relationships, right? And I had to moderate a conversation recently, and we were talking about violence in relationships, and people just keep thinking about male, female, but there's so much violence that happens in same-sex relationships.
Man, you got two guys. They just be duking it out, huh?
I live next door to women. And then when they moved next door, the first week, brand new $800,000 house, doctor and her trophy.
Absolutely.
The police came and we outside and they like, yeah, they used to live about 10 blocks away and we did about 20 calls to that house too. So y'all get used to it over here.
So the whole premise of the domestic violence, right? And we were having this conversation. People keep thinking about men and women, but one of the things that did come up was the fact that men are underreported, undertreated, and underbelieved, right? And it does trigger some things. You start thinking back and you go, I clearly remember, like my uncle would come spend the night at our house if he stayed out too late because, and if he was drunk or whatever and come over a barbecue at 2 o'clock in the morning because he couldn't go home because my aunt would fight him. But as a kid, you don't grasp that, right? You're like, oh, they came over after partying or whatever and stuff, and you'll go home in the morning. But we were with this conversation as we were talking about it, how it's underreported. And then just today when we sat down, we just had a conversation. You were sharing about something.
She just gonna put you on blast.
No. Really? But I'm saying, no, you were simply sharing about like being pushed up on too hard. Yeah. And Yatu said a good point. Like, it's hard for us to reject women or to tell them no, to really go hard at them and say, don't do that. Don't come at me, right?
Right.
So that's where with the conversation about the domestic violence and the same-sex relationships and stuff, I really want to make sure that we are acknowledging our brothers and that you all do get heard. And if not, how do you push back? How do you make sure you get heard?
So, I'll talk about this a little bit. First of all, I've nobody's ever hit me. But what I will say is this: is that in my experience, the times that I've had conflict with somebody I am dating, they are more aggressive than I am. They are in my face. They are screaming. They are, whatever they are. Like I have a hard fast rule. You cannot curse at me. You can curse if you talk. If you can curse if you talk to me while you're talking to me, but I do not like being cursed at.
Yes.
You definitely can't call me no bitch. You can't call me no punk. You can't, no F you. So I've had
all of which I've done.
What you gonna do if
Gina?
I'm lucky to still have these two front teeth.
God bless.
Hold on. I'm getting to that. Okay. Xavier. You can't. Now I've had people slip once. The what happens is I leave you. Mm-hmm. You cannot talk to me any kind of way. Mm-hmm. That's just what it is. I don't like. Growing up, aggressive talk for men, because men and women, our rules are different. Like if me and this man right here, we're talking, we always know that there is like an undertone of violence. If you say the wrong thing, you have to be prepared, right? And that's how men are wired. That's the reason why men walk away from women, because we are wired the wrong thing. Now it's time to defend yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to have or associate myself with someone who triggers
Yes.
that, and I have to fight that urge to now be aggressive. So, you can get away with it like once or whatever, but you can't constantly talk to me like that, because that's not how I'm talking to you. And I'll never forget this. I was me and this young lady, we had a date, and she was coming to my house, right? And I lived in an apartment building, a complex or whatever. She comes to the complex, and she gets a little mixed up, right? So she calls me. She's like, I don't know which one is the building. Now, the building number was right there. But so I come down, and I'm like, hey. And she greets me, and she is cussing me out. Da, 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 da. All this.
Got
all
me
that,
ringing
right?
doorbells.
Right.
Don't know.
And so I'm sitting here, I literally come out of the door. She's right there. All she had to do was turn right, right? So she comes upstairs, and we go.
Did let her up.
Yeah, she comes upstairs. We sit down, and I say to her real calmly, I said, listen, I will never curse at you. I promise you that. But you can't curse at me. I was like, is this how you talk to people? And she looks at me in my face and says, I haven't really cursed you out yet.
Oh.
So I look at her. I look at her. I say,
You won't get
oh, no, I said, okay, cool, right? All right, cool. We, sit there for a while. We go on our date or whatever, because I never break dates. I don't do that, right? So we go. I'm a man of my word. We go on our date. We have dinner. We have nice time or whatever. Come back. She leaves. I never call her again. Mm-hmm. One day she texts me, and she's like, hey, how you doing? What you doing? I'm like, I'm chilling. What you doing? She was like, wondering why you don't call me no more. Oh. That was it. I don't deal with that. You can't talk to me crazy. And I think that sometimes women have this impression of men that we should just take it, whether it be verbal abuse, whether it be physical abuse, and financial abuse, that as men, we don't have feelings in that way, or that we are just built that way, and so we should just take they bull.
You know why that is, right?
And we could be partially, but I mean, still, it's just that's I think some women feel that way, and I think that's why.
You know why that
Clue
is,
us in,
though.
Xavier. Clue us in.
You know why that is?
Why?
Because every day in life and on Facebook, black women are told that they need to work with men through stuff. We're told we got to work with y'all through all kind of stuff, because you might be coming up. You got potential. You might be, you can be this, you can be that. We just got to work with y'all through everything, but men are different. And I noticed, from talking to my daddy, men are different. Y'all have boundaries. And if the woman don't fit into this, if she's outside of that boundary of what you going, men be like, okay, well, she might be good to do this with, but she ain't, I'm not taking her seriously. Or they just cut them off like, okay, said. But women, we conditioned, I'll say conditioned. Mm-hmm. We're conditioned to work with y'all. Mm-hmm. We get with y'all, and maybe you ain't got no job, or maybe you a little rough around the edges, or maybe you need to go back to school. We supposed to work with y'all, and help build a bear, So that's why women expect that from men.
This conversation confuses me.
But let me just say this very quickly.
Please.
I want you to go, because I hear what you say, though. I hear what you're saying. Oh, like, I'm not going to let her beat me to work with her, right? I'm not going to let her berate me.
Right.
So I do want to say, but
ask, women do it
if she had
all the time.
Who you telling? If she had said, whoa, I didn't recognize that meant so much to you.
So.
Did she have a chance?
I'm going to tell you. I had same situation, very similar situation with another woman. And I said the same exact thing to her. Is this how you talk to people? Because you cannot talk to me that way. She looked at me in my face, and she said, it'll never happen again. And we continued on. The point is.
That's fair. No, that's fair. At least that you give us a chance, because I hear what Xavier
you have the
is saying.
choice.
I hear what she's saying too. Like, we worked through all of that stuff, and then we do one wrong thing, have one bad moment where we don't show ourselves right. But I agree. She said that you call that a cussing out. So I just wanted to hear
Right.
whether
And
or
so
not
that's
did she
that's
cussed out.
that's
have
what,
that
right.
chance
That's what it
again?
was.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
was because it. Look, I understand that, like, you know, people have habits, people, you know, and
Yeah.
just, but it was the way that she answered it. If she just said,
Absolutely.
hey, if you know, because like I said, I looked at her and I told her, I will never
Yes.
curse at you. There is not a woman. There's only I could name the times on one hand
Yeah.
that
I
I've
got you.
actually cursed at women, and one was because she almost got me into a fight.
My man will whoop your butt.
So it's amazing to me how oblivious men and women can be to each other's situations, right? So I know I date women, right? So of course I'm more hyper aware of what women are doing to some degree than what men are doing, because that's just not what I'm experiencing on the daily basis. But to hear Xavier say that, you know, especially on social media, women are being pushed to work with men and put up with men, when from where men are sitting, women are saying any behavior that we exhibit that is not to your liking is because you aren't handling your business as a man. And that if you were doing all the things that you needed to do as a man, then all women would be perfect mates. That's what's being pitched to us. And you guys may be totally unaware of it because it's not being pitched to you all. But we're in a space where
Say it again.
many women are saying that their behavior is 100% dictated by men's behavior. So that if a woman is exhibiting any misbehavior, is because the man that she's around or dealing with isn't being a real man.
That's
or
ridiculous,
handling
though.
all the.
Okay.
That's ridiculous, because
wasn't
we're all responsible for our own behavior. The choices that you make, those are you choose
That's
to behave
ideal.
that way. Because like Okara said, he walked away. You could just walk away from stuff. You don't have to act a fool.
That's ideal.
Unless you're an abuser who says you made me hit you.
That's ideal, but that's not always what's real. And so again, I'm not. A lot of these conversations are just that, conversations.
Absolutely.
A person may not be talking about their
Absolutely.
personal experience at the moment or what they're dealing with, but overall, the conversation that we're getting is that if men had women in their soft life and were paying all the bills and having total 100% zen at all times and never reacting and never debating and never arguing back, that women would fall into their natural, perfectly
Oh my God,
feminine,
here we go with the
wonderful
natural.
selves.
You know what?
Now, we do, men and women, we influence each other. There's no
Absolutely.
doubt about that. But the biggest conversation that I get from men around the country and around the world about women, and this doesn't mean that men sometimes lack accountability as well, but it is that women lack accountability for their behaviors and their actions and the things that they say, that they are able to attribute anything that they do that is egregious to the behavior of men, and men not creating a environment and circumstances that allows them to not have to
Yes,
be.
yeah. You
So
took
that
me
means
there.
you have no
that way.
control
Took
over
me there.
yourself.
Right.
You have no control over yourself. Your actions are dictated by somebody else. That's the weakest thing you can say.
Hey,
Well, you said men are
Wait.
underreported, Gina, and I we went down a little bit of a different rabbit
Yeah.
hole, but I
But I
did
do
want to
wanna-
address that.
I do want to say, you said worldwide, right?
Uh-huh.
Because I recognize doing the sexual health world, internationally,
Sure.
that it's a different kind of thing. Because what other, I'm just trying to figure out what other country when you're saying that internationally, right?
Yeah, so
And I'm not saying for a particular.
I was
thing, but-
involved romantically with a couple of women in South Africa, and so I had
Okay.
that experience. I was involved with a woman in Trinidad. I had that experience.
Okay, and
I'm-
men are
I've never
saying
been
the-
against the
kind
long
of
distance.
The same thing. No, that's fair, because I was just curious to say, when I'm thinking about sexual health, I do know that some women don't even have rights, right? They don't recognize that you can be raped by your own husband,
Right.
Like,
Right.
no means no. So that's when you said that, I was just like, well, who said that? But I see what you mean. You're talking about your experiences.
Sure. And just what men are sharing, but the underreported thing is huge, and I don't think people realize how much. I wish that I was Okara and could say I've never been hit before. But I have
I
been.
wish I can say I've never swung before.
I have been assaulted before. I once, and I don't want to give too much detail because I'm not trying to tell anybody.
Absolutely.
But I dealt with a woman for 2 years and experienced one person. And then in one day, I was dealing with a totally different person.
Was there a trauma?
There was. I didn't find out till later.
Gotcha.
Or the impact
fair.
of it later. But what I did find out later through her going to therapy and coming back and telling me and sharing with me is what happened is that she began being financially abused and sexually abused at work right around the time she switched up on me.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
At work?
At work. That, and I, through friendship, I've shared women have to be careful about being vulnerable with their employers.
Absolutely.
Right? And things of that nature. So she acquired a new tuition bill when a child went to college, and they reduced her pay by the exact amount of the monthly installments on the tuition for the college after she announced that to them.
Or announced that, yeah.
Yeah. And so
Why would they do that?
Because she was
power
being
and
abused.
control.
Power
so
and control.
This you have to
right?
understand that jobs
That's
want you
lawsuit more
to
than
jobs
anything.
want you to need them.
Yes.
And so they have statistics and strategies that they sometimes use. So retail stores will put managers at stores as far away from their home as
Absolutely.
possible to create bigger gas bills, to create so that you need this job. So you ain't out here saying you ain't out here like the woman from the wife from Everybody Hates Chris. My man got 2 jobs.
jobs,
I
right.
quit.
I don't need
I
that.
quit. You have no room, right? So they give you a salary $80,000, but you got to wear a suit every day. That's a dry cleaning bill. You got to drive out here
I
to
got
O'Hare.
those before.
That's a gas bill. It's also taking an hour and a half of commute each way, so that's taking more hours away from your day, and it puts you in a situation where you
Can
hopefully
I pull you
can never
back
leave.
for 1 second?
Sure.
But because you said something earlier, and I still want you to touch on that.
Please.
When you were talking about how hard it is to tell women no, right? And not in a whole, if a woman wants me, I want that. We were talking about a situation where a woman was being too aggressive, and the man was like, I was trying to tell her no, but I just couldn't, right?
Right.
But you immediately understood what you were saying by saying, like, do you know how hard it is to tell a woman no? So I just want to talk, I just want to hear that.
Yeah, so again, I don't want to pretend that it's impossible for a man to tell a woman no, but I think some of us struggle with being harsh about it. Some of us struggle with our perception of what the repercussions might be. And so, it was brought up earlier, it's like, how many times you rejected a woman and then she's like, oh, you must be gay.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That type of thing, attacks on character, attacks on manhood, sharing the story differently.
Yes.
Later, right? So it's just like you really just, it's not that you struggle to say no, you are not looking to create new enemies unnecessarily. And unfortunately, it manifests itself in different ways. I know when women tell men no, that they have reasons to be fearful and not want to do it because of sometimes the way that men react to it. But there are some different ways that women can react to it that make it challenging for men. And so
No, I appreciate that, because when you were saying it, I was just thinking like, well, what is it? And then someone said earlier, oh, we don't like to hurt your feelings. I was like, do you know how many times men make women cry? You don't want to hurt our feelings, right?
But
I do.
Yeah,
I hear it a different way.
it's tricky,
for sure.
as it pertains to just being on the other side of a woman for men, because it's like sometimes if you're not all in agreeing with women on whatever they feel at
This
the moment,
panel,
or
hello,
they're
you never agree with me.
no, I'm just saying, if you're not all in agreeing with women at whatever it is that they're feeling, or
You're totally
it's
against us.
It's yes,
Right,
it's like
right.
you're just totally against us,
Yes.
and you could just be trying to, accentuate like a specific thing in that or whatever, or trying to but if you're just not you're 100% right, then it's a lot of blowback. I mean, I've lost friends.
Yeah.
And had, just
In the
because-
last 2 months on your page, if somebody didn't agree, they were a pedophile. If they
Yes,
didn't 100% agree,
Oh,
then
gotcha.
you a pedophile too.
Yes.
You
It's like you can't have a caveat. You can't have a little element to a different. You can't.
No
you can't
nuance.
have no nuance. You can't have a nuance to something.
My way or the highway.
If you bring up just a little deviation of, all right, but what about this? Oh, what are you talking about? Da, 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 da. And it's just like, all right, I'm good.
May I wrap myself up?
In what?
The end of this show, I guess. The segment.
No, really and truly. Only because as we were saying that, I do want to make sure, because it takes me back to the workshop on Thursday, that we do create a safe space, right? I have 18, my company's name is Nephews, because I have 18 boys, right? No girls. First girl since me just graduated from Spelman 2 weeks ago, right?
Congratulations.
So give it up for Lexi. She's my super producer, right? But when I say, one of the things I say to my nephews all the time, right? Like, you cannot be taking no butt whoopings, and stuff, right? Because I knew there was somebody who was violent, and it was always connected to alcohol. But I do want to make sure that men are protected. I know over the years, you're a big boy, men don't cry, do this, do that, right? But now that I'm an adult, that I know better, because unfortunately I have been, like you said, unfortunately kicked the guy's door in. Again, grateful. What'd you say? Come on, say God bless you. Use your line on me, right? You know why? because I'm still sitting here, right? That man simply looked at me and said, I have never hit a woman, and I'm not going to hit you. Please leave my premises now. And I promise you, in my head, I was like, well, hit me, do something, give me something, right? He shut me down so well. And I had to learn to live with that, right? I literally had to learn. I'm not saying we didn't see each other again. Let's be clear.
See, he had trouble saying no.
We did. Well, no, right. We did. But I will always compliment him.
You know what they say about the crazy ones.
Uh-oh.
It is what it is. But no, I really will always compliment him, because that could have gone so wrong.
The G is for go crazy.
Yeah. But I will say, like, that could have gone so wrong, right? He could have hit me after I kicked in his door. My nephews and my brothers could have been like, oh, wait, you hit my sister, right? Versus, what did she do? And it was just me, immature, just out of my mind. And I have to fess up about it. I saw a car in the park, in the driveway. I spent the night before. And I was like, whose car is that? And he told me none of my business or something like that. And I go to clown it. Then I figure out it was his niece's car. I remember we were talking about buying the little car for the niece. She and her friends were up. I will not lie, this was 22 years ago. So they were upstairs using the internet.
Gina's
I
the
did-
one.
hey.
She got the
God
stuff, y'all.
bless.
Because she crazy as hell over
She
there.
kicked in the door.
Gina, somebody go be in your inbox. They know what you know in some places,
That is
boy.
just-
Or they looking for him that he made her kick in the door.
You know
right,
what I'm saying?
absolutely.
One of
That's
the
what we
two.
say if
But
you have a heart attack.
what
right?
was she doing to make him let her come back, though? You know what I'm saying?
And he came back
She-
after
It was
that.
just, but you know what?
I
I will
understand.
always compliment that as we're closing up and wrapping up about violence and stuff with men. Like, thank you for shutting that down. I appreciate the way he shut me down. I'm not gonna lie, he got his get back. Family member died recently. I go to the funeral because we haven't seen each other, in maybe 15 years or whatever. We're still friends on social media, call each other for the birthdays and everything. And you get there, and the niece is now an adult and goes, remember this one? Y'all was finna have to come down and beat her up and stuff because she done kicked in the door. I was mortified.
You deserved it.
I totally got his get back. His get back was much better.
Much
Remember
better than
her.
yours. Yep.
Yes, much
Yep.
better. So yeah, I just want to make sure that when we're talking about that, and that came up, and we talking about same. Very quickly, the woman just said too, that when she was thinking about calling the police on her partner, it was male, female. You gonna call the police on black man? You know how they do us. I said, my chills went through me. I said, that's so much manipulation, in the middle of fighting you and stuff. So I
Kinda.
just said,
Kind of.
Yeah, no. Kind
All right.
of is in
I'm
there.
just
But yeah.
telling you.
Yeah, that it is true. But at the end of the day, I'm not supposed to like take this butt whooping and stuff in the midst of it. So I just wanted to make sure that as we talked about the violence and that men are underreported, underprotected.
I want to hop in because
Please, I'm so sorry.
yeah, I
She like, I done drilled a man in the face or two.
I didn't
I don't want to know that.
I didn't kick down any doors.
Okay, shush.
What you do?
I did push somebody down some stairs.
Push
though.
somebody down some stairs.
I didn't hit him.
Lord.
I just kicked the door. He sold that house too
Lord.
crazy. We got too crazy.
Hey, I've been assaulted up, Kara. I'm like, you man, what type of luck you got? You and nobody never put hands, especially as calm as you are. I would think they want to choke you.
But listen, mine was self-defense. Okay.
Yours was
Because-
self-defense.
because
See, she
you
gonna
put
twist
he-
him down the
he
stairs
thought-
and it was self-defense.
He thought that day that he was going to slap me. But he learned that day not to never slap nobody else. Because I'm not saying that I'm big and
Oh,
bad.
he slapped you and then you pushed him down the stairs?
After I bust his lip and his nose and gave him a black eye, I pushed him down the stairs, and he lived on a busy street, so
Well, that's
people was
self-defense.
driving by.
That all sounds like
watching this,
self-defense
and
if he slapped
people
you.
was yelling out their window, "She beating his ass!" It was kind
So-
of funny looking back on it now, but it was self-defense.
So what do you like, Colombiana or something? What do you
No,
like?
I just y'all know I'm very mellow and even keeled, so that's totally out of my character.
Well, all it takes for a man to think is
But
sweet.
if you think you're gonna slap me, if you're gonna hit
Man,
me,
it's bitter.
you know that song, "Hit me and I'll hit you back."
It's kiss you, but God bless.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
That's
But,
through
you know,
your
as long as we
filter.
can talk about it.
This is through the
yeah.
Xavier filter.
There was one line in there that said that.
But yeah, so I have been on that side, but I still think that everybody's behavior is your own choice. We have to be
Yes.
accountable for ourselves because nobody controls you unless you want to be controlled. So what you're saying is that somebody else has complete control over your behavior. If a man was going to be completely everything, birds and feathers and clouds and pink butterflies and stuff, then you would be this. No, that has to be who you are anyway. One of the things that really gets me with people sometimes, especially women, they have this thing, I'm not going to give him wife privileges as a girlfriend or whatever. And I get the sentiment, but if you are a wife, y'all know I ain't into the Bible, right? But it says he who finds a wife. It doesn't say he who marries a woman and makes her a wife. It says he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So there are women that are wives. They just walking around here. They just going to behave like that. That's just who they are.
Right.
It is naturally in them to be nurturing, to help develop people, to encourage you. It's just naturally in them. There are women who are wives, and there are women who are not wives, and they don't want to give wife benefits unless they, whatever that whole thing is. So I'm just saying, be who you are and accept responsibility for it. If you're, kicking down doors, then,
He
accept
made you
that
do it.
behavior.
And do that
Nobody
anymore.
makes you do anything. You choose your responses.
Absolutely.
You
Yes.
can be like
Yes.
Okara and walk away, or
Yeah.
you can choose the
to
door.
kick down the door.
Those are my words.
I
So
mean-
we are going
On
to wrap
another
up.
show, we'll talk about it. Have we ever done anything that was stupid before?
We are
It was
gonna
not
go wrap. Do we
Lord.
have any comments from
I'm
the
guilty.
audience? Anybody want to come up here and get on the mic and share your thoughts? You got some thoughts? You got some thoughts?
I
Okay.
got a question for all the ladies in the audience. Have you ever put your hands on a man?
Oh, I heard that one
Oh.
all the way.
I heard
Somebody
two
heard-
no's and I heard two
She
dead
did.
silences.
And the dead silence is
and
the
the
whole
blue, she
yes,
hit
right.
somebody before.
In
It
defense.
was in defense?
You ain't never been on offense before.
No, okay.
What about you back there?
Yeah. AJ?
Yes, you.
I'm over there.
You've never placed your fingertips on a man
Well, I
in self-defense.
saw our
See, I don't know about
See,
these
I've never had a
stories.
man-
I saw our sweet little camera woman producer. I saw her over.
I knew it.
Listen, I
Can
think
I ju-
that might be a firecracker right there. That might be Gina's.
Might be. She checked me one time. I knew right then. I said, them young dudes, she choking them. If she checked me.
But you know how you all said in self-defense? I have known of several men who fight women who have been abusive. No one's ever tried to fight me. Like, no one's ever hit me. No man is. I think maybe one time a guy was like, "You're not leaving yet. I'm not taking you home. You don't have to take me home." This is before we had cell phones and stuff, right? Like, I will go to a payphone and call my daddy to come get me, right? But no one's ever. And I say that to say abusers know the difference. Now, I don't know that if I'm just out there giving off that I will fight back. But, you know, when you said, like, hey, it was in self-defense. No one's ever tried to hit me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we
It's
at
over.
our
Women
we-
have tried to touch me up my whole life.
we
You
at
know,
the
they
end.
say how, especially back in the 70s and 80s, like a man could not win an argument. A man just didn't have the vocabulary. I was the exception to the rule that I can win an argument. I can.
Swing.
And they be swinging. They be swinging when I was in
That's
elementary
fair.
school
That's
and high
fair.
school and college.
We have to wrap this up. I want to tell this story that I've heard yesterday, and it's a true story, and it's kind of like the women keep going back to stuff. This was freaking amazing to me, and so I'm not gonna say names, but I don't actually know the people. Somebody else told me the story of how this couple got together. So a friend of mine, I was hanging out with him, and he said, you know, what you doing after this? I had something else to do. He's like, oh yeah, I was gonna take you to visit my friends. It's a couple. You know, once we left here, I said, well, I got something else to do, and he said, it's really odd how they met. And I said, how did they meet? You know, and he said they went on a date. And I don't, Shay, I am live. Can you not call me? I told her 2 to 6, don't call me. Anyway, she said they went on a date. He said they went on a date. They went back to his house. She was gonna leave. This was terrifying to me. I just he owned dogs. He let the dogs out, and she could not leave until she had sex with him, because he had the dogs out.
And you went to meet them?
No.
Because they stayed together.
You know, they got married after that.
That's like the movie 365 Days. He like, you got a year to fall in love with me. He kidnapped her.
He let the dogs out so she couldn't leave. He got pit bulls. He let the dogs out so she couldn't leave. And the only way she could leave is if she had sex with him. This was some years ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then once she left, because down the road they started dating. How do you even ever talk to this dude again?
She enjoyed
Blink
the sex.
twice if you if you need help. If you're in trouble, blink twice.
You got it.
That was a victim.
That's rape.
That is a sexual assault. You don't
Now,
recognize it.
No,
In some ways, it's refreshing to hear her say that, because it's putting the accountability for what she chose on her.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess there is such thing as Stockholm syndrome. And
But she left at
That's
some
what-
point.
I'm saying, so
But that's after
listen to
grooming,
me.
not from one
Oh,
incident.
Kira,
Yeah,
I'm a
they're-
man, right? And
Yeah.
I've never been in a relationship with a woman who I thought could defeat me in a fight, right? So there's not a physical threat can't keep me there, but trauma and the Stockholm syndrome possibly can. And so when I perceived that woman to be a certain way for 2 years, and then she flipped on me, it took me a minute to accept that this was reality. Like the first time she pulled it, it was like, what in the world could have? I was such in shock. It's like, this must be this one-off. Like, ain't no way. I experienced her for 2 years. I'm just being honest. I'm a man. I didn't have nothing to fear. But between empathizing and shock, I definitely hung out much longer than I should have, or than I had to. And it's my responsibility. But there is some psychology to it, especially when I knew what was going on. Like, I found the attorney who got the biggest payout for sexual harassment in the history of the state. Like, I'm gonna help you defeat this thing that's causing you to project your anger at these men you work
didn't
with.
know it until then.
I didn't know it.
That's fair.
Until then.
So,
Kara, out of here. You built different. You out of here.
No, it's not that. It's not that. I understand how a person can stay in a bad situation. I'm not saying that I've never been in a situation that probably wasn't best for me. But what I am saying is that in the situation, I knew this is not good for me, but I'm still going to do it. And the problem when it comes to, I guess you could say, the Stockholm Syndrome and all of these things is that it takes away responsibility and it takes away the power of choice. Because, like, in that situation, yeah, he had the dogs, right? And, okay, she had to comply. So, in all means, to me, that's rape.
It was.
That is rape, right?
Definitely what we call.
But then she walked out of there.
And came back.
And she didn't go to the police. She didn't say to anybody else. She chose to come back.
Yes.
And so it's hard. It's hard for me to really look at somebody after you, because you had to consciously say yes for 365 days and another 365 days for me to look at you and then be like, oh, I'm, empathize with that. You chose that. Like,
can I just say,
it's like we're giving people the power to 10, 15 years later, after saying yes for 10 years, to now say all those yeses was really no's.
Well,
I
let me
agree
just
with
say-
that
I mean,
part,
it's-
and
it's-
that's what I hoped you would talk about in
that's-
relationship in your relationship segment.
But
Like,
no.
I just don't understand. I mean, we grown. Like, you can't look at me and tell me that, like, you're a boss or you're this or you're that, and then your yeses don't really mean yeses. Like, how can any
But I think
person?
Xavier said that this was
How
a
can-
third-party story,
Right.
It
How
was
So
a
can-
we're
third-party story.
hoping that, maybe this is their joke, right? Technically, he helped let the dogs out until then, right? But one of the things when you said this, not sexual assault, when you do this, it's still sexual assault.
Yeah, no.
The way she described it, right? But it's
Yeah.
one of the things that we also say it's very hard to prosecute date rapes, right? Or when there was a woman who someone broke in, was attempting to rape her, she asked that he wear a condom. He did, and so then when he got caught, he was like, no, she asked me to wear a condom. The only way they were able to prosecute him is because he had climbed in her window at 3:00 in the morning. It wasn't like they had gone on a date and
Right.
had this or that, right? But technically, she was still within her wits to protect herself to the best of her ability because he's climbed in. So I don't know, like Xavier said, we don't know the full story. Maybe it makes for a funny story with their kids and stuff, but I
don't think that's funny.
I mean, no. I'm saying the way
I don't even-
way you said it, the way you
They've
told
been
it
married
to us,
for 14 years now.
the way you told it to us versus something else. Yeah, it was just again, that first
the
night, the
moment-
way you said it
in
was
the
sexual
moment-
assault. That is legally
I don't know
determined
what
in the
changed
state of
for
Illinois.
her.
I don't know what other state you all talking about.
I
Again-
just can't see nobody. First of all,
Didn't you
pit
just say
bulls
about
are
the woman at
terrifying
work,
to me.
right? Like not
So I'm
recognizing that she
terrified.
was
Maybe I'm
being
projecting my
harassed.
feelings 'cause I'm
No,
terrified.
pit bulls are terrifying.
Why did she dial 911?